We are taught to see banks as fortresses of finance, symbols of stability, protected by steel and concrete. But behind those gilded doors, a different history is written. A history soaked in fear and betrayal. This is not about the grand cinematic heists. This is about the moments when greed collided with panic, turning a robbery into a massacre. For decades, the true stories have been buried, overshadowed by Hollywood myths. Tonight, we unearth the dark, shocking truth behind 5 of the most brutal bank massacres in U.S. history. Events so horrific, they didn't just steal money, they stole innocence and changed the very fabric of American security.
Our journey begins in the desperate 1930s, the age of the public enemy. But this wasn't Bonnie and Clyde. This was a crew fueled by desperation and a chilling willingness to execute. We call it the Bloody Valentine.
It was February, a freezing afternoon when 4 men stormed the First National Bank. They weren't there for a quick grab. They were prepared for war. When a teller hesitated, the leader, known only as the Butcher, made a horrifying statement. The violence was immediate, gratuitous, and relentless. 2 guards, 3 patrons, and a single brave teller lost their lives, not because they fought back, but as a terror tactic. The psychological profile of the lead criminal showed a severe lack of empathy, treating human life as an unfortunate obstacle. The town was paralyzed. The crime was quickly solved, but the scars remained, forever cementing this case as a pivotal moment where bank robbery truly became a capital offense.
Fast forward to the late 1990s. Security cameras, reinforced glass, and armed response were standard. Yet technology is only as good as the people operating it. This is the story of the security failure, a modern tragedy defined by human error. The 2 perpetrators were young, under pressure, and heavily armed. They didn't breach the bank through force. They exploited a gaping procedural flaw, a backdoor protocol used for late-night deliveries. Once inside, they found themselves facing an unexpected number of employees working overtime. Rather than retreat, they chose elimination. The most disturbing aspect: the 911 call was delayed by nearly 15 minutes because a panic button was installed in an office that had been recently relocated, and the blueprints hadn't been updated. 6 lives were lost due to a simple administrative oversight. The aftermath of this case led directly to federal mandates for standardized, redundant panic systems in all U.S. banking institutions. A safety measure written in blood. Trust is the deadliest weapon. Our third case, The Inside Job, reveals how the ultimate breach of security comes not from the outside, but from within. The planning was meticulous. The inside man, a respected branch manager named Robert, was a man buried under mountains of hidden debt. He recruited 2 ex-military acquaintances, providing them with schematics, safe codes, and, most crucially, the employee schedule. The robbery should have been swift, exploiting the 1-hour window before dawn. But Robert had miscalculated the loyalty of his team. When a night janitor, a man who had worked there for 30 years, recognized Robert's voice despite his mask, the meticulous plan crumbled.
Robert snapped. He couldn't risk exposure. He killed the janitor and the 2 night shift tellers who witnessed it. His motive was no longer just money. It was self-preservation at any cost. Robert was eventually caught trying to flee the country, but the damage was done. The case highlights the brutal reality that betrayal often breeds the most intimate and savage violence.
We now move away from the metropolitan chaos to a quiet, forgotten corner of America. The small-town horror proves that terror doesn't require a large stage. It requires a victim. In a tiny community where everyone knew everyone, the local bank was more of a community center than a fortress. 2 local criminals, high on adrenaline and substance, decided to hit the big time. They were not professionals. They were volatile and unpredictable. When the bank president, an elderly, beloved figure, simply asked them to calm down, the confrontation escalated instantly. This was a tragedy of impulse. In the ensuing 90 seconds of chaos, 4 people died, including a young mother who was simply opening an account for her child. The emotional trauma on the small town was immeasurable, a wound that never truly healed. For the FBI, this event forced a reevaluation of how to handle non-professional, yet highly dangerous, opportunistic criminals. Our final, terrifying case focuses on the perfect crime that wasn't. This crew was brilliant. They planned for every contingency, escape routes, alibis, and disguises. Their only failure was underestimating the sheer weight of their own ambition. They targeted a Federal Reserve collection center disguised as a commercial bank. The vault held an unimaginable amount of liquid cash. The entire operation was conducted with near-military precision, lasting less than 12 minutes. However, the one detail they overlooked was the silent alarm triggered by a sequential opening of security doors. When the police arrived too early, the getaway turned into a bloody confrontation. The crew, unwilling to let their perfect score go, executed 3 guards before being cornered. The pursuit that followed lasted months, culminating in a spectacular televised arrest. Every surviving member of the crew was eventually sentenced to life without parole. Their ambition cost them everything, proving that in the end, no plan is truly perfect when human lives are on the line. Now, a quick reality check. Hollywood loves the image of the cool, intellectual mastermind who gets away clean. That's the myth. The reality is that the clearance rate for bank robberies in the U.S. is over 80%. When violence occurs, it jumps closer to 100%. Modern forensics, advanced facial recognition, and mandatory digital tracking of serial numbers make the perfect crime an impossibility. The truth is far more brutal and far less glamorous than the movies would have you believe. 5 cases, 5 horrific breaches of trust and security. They are united by a common thread, the moment a criminal chose violence over reason. These forgotten massacres are the dark lessons that forge the security protocols we rely on today. The story is over, but the conversation is not. Which of these dark truths shocked you the most? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on the legacy of these crimes. And if you want more uncompromising dives into the forgotten corners of history, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching.